Seattle Sports Show coming to you from Seahawks training camp. The Virginia Mason Athletic Center is the place to be today. Alongside Chris Egan, I'm Paul Sylvie. We're happy you're with us today, and we had a lot of football to get to, Chris. And I don't know, man, the blood starts pumping out here. You get to Seahawks training camp. You see the equipment getting out there. You were here this weekend. A lot of fun on tap.
Well, I mean, let's be clear right out of the gates. The Super Bowl champions, Paul, right here. They practice right here. You can talk all you want about the Rams. They are not the Super Bowl champions. They are the Seattle Seahawks. I tell you what, I was out here on Saturday for day one. There was a buzz in the air. The 12s were going crazy. But at the same time, Paul, when you look at Saturday and Sunday, it's also about business. And we're going to hear from head coach Mike Macdonald. We know we got Dave Softy Mahler jumping on. It's not a lot of show out here. It's not a lot of, sure there's music going, but it's business. They're getting a job done. We watched that on Saturday. We watched that on Sunday, and you're going to see that again out here today. Sure, they're here to have some fun with the fans, but they're also here to get some things done and get ready for this, as we know, run it forward, right, Paul?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to hear from head coach Mike Macdonald, the creator of that slogan, coming up as we check out what's on tap for today's show. We'll hear from head coach Mike Macdonald. A lot of Seahawks coming your way, and some of the players as well, as Chris alluded to. A lot of guys talking over the weekend. Dave Softy Mahler of Sports Radio 93.3 KJR FM will join us. He'll offer up plenty of opinions on the Seahawks, as well as the Mariners. The Imps snapped their 4-game losing streak with a win over Texas. Some keys to that win and a look ahead to the Dodgers. And the Sounders have a losing streak of their own they'd like to snap. What's going on with Brian Schmetzer's club coming up? Let's start
real quickly, Paul, if the panic button is here on
you
Sunday,
and the panic button.
On Sunday, watching the Mariners, I was like, right here. Dominic Canzone, we love you, baby. We love you. We're still alive. We got more Mariners talk later on. We're talking Hawks.
That's right. The man with the panic button, again. Let's save the baseball. Let's start with the reason we're here today with the Seahawks. Into their third day of training camp, head coach Mike Macdonald spoke on the first day, and he talked about a variety of topics. And Mike came up with the Run It Forward slogan, as we've talked about here on the show. He's also about another popular slogan, which is 12 as 1. And Chris, I thought that was interesting. The message that he gave to his players right out of the gate was one from back in the 90s, where he brought up Michael Jordan and the Bulls never being able to get past the Detroit Pistons and their team concept in the early 90s. The Pistons, of course, won 2 straight titles. And then Michael Jordan bought into Phil Jackson's team concept, where he wanted to get everybody else involved. You don't have to do it all, Michael. And once he bought into that concept of team, they went out and started winning titles. And they won 6 under Jordan, and that's well documented. So I thought that the way Mike Macdonald talks about the importance of team, the importance of 12 as 1, everybody doing their work together and their jobs together, was a great message to start this off, and really no surprise.
I don't think general manager John Schneider can get enough credit for this hire of Mike Macdonald. Everything he says, there is meaning to it. You talk about run it forward, and we heard from some of the players, and we talked to some of them on Saturday. We heard on Sunday from Julian Love, Jackson Smith, and Jigba about that run it forward. You know what it's not? You hear a lot of people say, hey, let's run it back. Let's run it back. Let's do it again. Let's run it back. Well, that would be taking the exact same team from the year before and doing it again. And Mike Macdonald was very quick, Paul, to mention on Saturday when he spoke with the media that this is a new team. This is a new season. So you have to look at it from that way. So you're not trying to run it back because that team is no longer here. This is a new group of individuals. You want to run it forward. And here he is, the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
I think I don't know, if you just boil it down to the lowest common denominator, it's like, look, I'm different than I was this time last year. I'm different than I was at the end of the season. We got, 30% of our roster is probably different. We got changes at our coaching staff. We got guys with new perspectives and a lot of life things that have happened. So we're all kind of new people here in this situation, which by definition makes us a new team too. So it's pretty simple when you kind of boil it down like that.
Yeah, it is pretty simple because you throw in a lot of rookies. You throw in some new coaches as well. And he mentioned it. Yeah, some of the big stars are back, but it's a new group as a whole. And I love his approach when it comes to just game planning, philosophy, and getting things going again for this season. Yeah. Not last season. It's great. Celebrate last season. We're Super Bowl champs. We got the rings. We can have fun. We'll hang the banner, but let's go get another one.
Yeah, the running forward mentality is a good mentality to have. And we've talked about it over the last, several months. the players have bought into that mentality as well from day one of the OTAs and the offseason drills. And the fact that all but 5 players are returning to this Super Bowl champion roster is another big thing. And you're talking about the key players too, Chris. Nick Eamon is one of those guys who had just almost a breakout second half of his rookie season. And the Seahawks are looking forward to some more things from Eamon, but they're going to have to wait a little bit because he's dealing with a bit of an ankle.
Well, yeah, I mean, we mentioned all the big stars were here on Saturday. Well, one of them not on the field is Nick Eamon. I mean, the news, obviously, he is on the PUP list, had arthroscopic surgery. More than likely, he will be back on the field sooner than later, Paul. They're playing things safe right now with Nick, but he is a very key component when you talk about this defense. When you look at last season, I mean, he hurt it a couple days before the Super Bowl. You were with the team. He still, I think, played snap-wise 71 out of 72 defensive snaps in that Super Bowl, but he's very young. They want to be cautious with him. And here is Mike Macdonald talking about his defensive superstar, Nick Eamon.
So Nick's situation, so it's the ankle from the Super Bowl, and I think the best way to describe it is it was something that he's been dealing with since the Super Bowl. Was able to perform, was able to train and do some things in the offseason program, but just got to the point where it was the best for him, and really just for him in the long, for the long term, just to go ahead and get it fixed, and so that's what we all decided to do. So it's really the best thing for him, for now and the foreseeable future, for the rest of his career. So. He's doing a great job. We don't have necessarily a timetable. It's not like we lost him for the season or anything. I don't want to put, I don't want to put time on it, but it's not a serious thing where you're looking at any long-term consideration.
And Greg Bell from the Tacoma News-Tribune and KJR Sports Radio, Paul, followed it up, and he'll be on the show tomorrow. He asked him twice. So will we see him week 1, Coach? And Coach McDonald looked at Greg. I knew you were going to ask this question. And Greg goes, well, will we see him in week 1? He goes, well, no timetable yet. So yeah. I think more than likely, yes, we will see him for the season opener week 1. They're just playing things safe right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that McDonald wants to be sure of is that, Eamon Warrior, since a 22-year-old kid, basically, a young man, and the fact that he doesn't want to put extra pressure on this guy to get back by week 1. So I think he's playing it cool. He doesn't want to put too much pressure on him. He wants him to come back at his own timetable. And listen, like you said, they'd rather have him in the back half of the season for a deep playoff run and possibly another Super Bowl run than to get him back too early and rush him back too early. But one of these things we talked about all last year was the next man up mentality, which they love to say around here. And DeAnthony Bell is one of those guys who's going to get a little extra playing time during camp. He spent 3 seasons with the Cleveland Browns. They brought him in here last year, did not stick with the team the entire season, so he was home watching the Super Bowl. But DeAnthony Bell is a guy who's going to take advantage of his playing time as well.
Yeah, he has 4 years of NFL experience. He, played in over a dozen games for the Seahawks last year. Wasn't there during that playoff run, Paul, but he's getting to the point where he's a veteran. He knows this system. He knows what Mike Macdonald wants. You talked about next man up mentality. We saw a lot of guys like Ty Okada. We talked about them last season just stepping up big time for this team. And yesterday, DeAnthony Bell talked with the media along with Julian Love, who's been very impressed with Bell.
And then especially being in the big nickel spot now, get more reps at that spot. It's a lot of opportunity to put hands on fullbacks, tight ends, O-linemen. So it's a lot of opportunities to be physical, and I love the stuff that we do here. We do a lot of different things, and just knowing different positions and defense just makes you more valuable. So it's helpful for me.
D Bell, man, we love D Bell, man. He's real. He's raw. He's authentic. Who he is. He's a true pro. They ask him to do a lot. You think that somebody like me or somebody else is doing a lot of things. He is doing everything. He has to know every position. He's smart enough to do that. He's a dog enough to do that. He's a player maker enough to be on the field for us. And honestly, a lot of us were kind of hurt and kind of were pretty bummed that he wasn't with us kind of down the stretch there. And it was very real. It was talked about. And so it was cool that he still got a ring. He's cool that he's still really a part of this thing, and we're really happy to bring him back.
Yeah, very cool that he got the Super Bowl ring even though he wasn't at that game. You love to hear Julian Love, and I'm sure D. Bell loves that as well when the leader of your defense is speaking so highly of you. Another good sign, at least from 2 days into camp, Paul, Devin Witherspoon, no contract yet. We thought that may be coming in day 2 or 3 or 4. Could happen today. We never know. But he's still out here with a big smile on his face, working hard. Another one of your leaders on this defense.
Yeah, I just love the fact that, Spoon is out here taking part of training camp, because a lot of these guys do the hold-in thing, like Jacoby Brissett down in Arizona, backup quarterback for years, held it in so he could get his deal done, finally got his $15 million deal for 1 year. And it just tells you something about the player's character. Spoon didn't want to sit on the sidelines. He took part in a lot of the OTAs, the mini camp, and maybe there were certain drills he stayed out of a mini camp, but here he is, as Chris talked about, on the field. And it just tells you, Chris, and speaks of the character, and we hear about this all the time with Mike Macdonald and John Schneider, that Seahawks type of character, and Spoon certainly exemplifies that.
Well, and when you look at training camp, this will be interesting because we'll get into more about HBO Hard Knocks being here. You're looking for drama, at least they are. They're looking for storylines and sometimes chaos. Ariel Arsuto loves that word, chaos. There isn't a whole lot out here, Paul. There's no drama. There's no chaos. Everything is running very smoothly. And we talk about Nick Eamon-Orr. That's about the only storyline of somebody not being out here. Horton is out here. The wide receivers look good over the weekend, Paul. And I think that's key. When you have Sam Darnold, year 2 of this team, and you've got your wide receiver crew out there, it's a good sign for this team.
Yeah, well, you talk about Hard Knocks. They mic'd up Spoon like day 1. Even before he took the field, they're like, this is the guy we're going after right away. So I think there's 2 locks when it comes to training camp. You're going to see a lot of Spoon on HBO's Hard Knocks, and you're going to see a bald eagle right out of the gate. So those are almost locks, Chris.
Well, we know that because they've been we're doing this show right now. HBO Hard Knocks is near Eagle Tree, and they're trying their best to get an eagle to fly above. But I'm more concerned about the wide receivers flying right now because they've been looking good. I mentioned Horton is out there. Jackson Smith and Jigba, feeling very good about this season. Hard to have a season like he did last year again, but Paul, he's ready to roll again. Here he is, JSN.
You can feel the excitement, you can feel the energy, definitely. Having a great year is definitely awesome, and we want to repeat that, of course, but I think just coming in, there's been a new energy, just a kind of a fresh start and ready to get going, ready to take the next step, as a team and a new beginning. We want to create, a new story with this upcoming season, and because it's different, and we do have different guys, we got different people in the building, so it's going to be a unique story and a unique challenge, different from last year. So we're excited to take it on.
You heard him right there. We heard from Coach Macdonald. New season, new year. One of your offensive stars, Jackson Smith and Jigba. New story. It's different. So the mentality's in there. Yeah, I mean, these guys have bought in everything Coach is saying, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, we're going to talk a whole lot of Seahawks as we continue here from Seahawks training camp. Players set to take the field a little bit later on.